Virtually no promotion, virtually no distribution, and within hours, virtually no sign of it at all. If a band wants to release an album, it seems like the worst possible way to do it. But that's exactly what the Beatles did today. 59 tracks that would delight hardcore Beatlemaniacs if they managed to get their hands on it. Chris Brown explains.
Sometimes Kevin Romaine pretends he's a Beatle, playing Ringo Starr in a Vancouver tribute group called the Taxmen. So he appreciates this inside look at what many consider to be the greatest band ever.
You get a glimpse of them as just regular people playing music and sorting it out and screwing up the words.
This morning, iTunes released 59 Beatles tracks recorded in 1963 from the so-called Bootleg album. Among them, demos of songs John Lennon wrote, such as Bad to Me, but then passed on to others to record. In other cases, there are early takes of famous songs that Lennon and McCartney were still trying to get right. On that version, they mix up the lyrics. This is the first time the tracks have all been commercially released, though anyone who went on YouTube could have found most of them before. So why, after 50 years, release them now? This lawyer says it's likely something in entertainment law known as the use it or lose it clause.
Without a commercial release, the copyright would have expired after 50 years in these so-called bootleg Beatle recordings. So the result would have been that anyone could make recordings, copies of the recording, without the permission of the record company.
By releasing it today, the copyright protection kicks in for another few decades. In another odd twist, in some places the songs were only available to buy for a few hours, which this music expert says may have been a marketing stunt.
By the idea that it's a limited release is going to generate quick, massive purchases. The second I heard about it, I went online, found it, bought it.
Here in Canada, the Bootleg album was actually available for much of the day. The release of Beatles' outtakes is probably really only going to excite diehard fans. But even after half a century, the record execs know there are still many millions of those who will lap this up. Chris Brown, CBC News, Vancouver.
For Canadian fans, next year will mark a major milestone, the 50th anniversary of the band's first trip here. In 1964, they played in Vancouver and Toronto. Here's a taste of Canadian Beatlemania from our archives.
Some of them came prepared for the ordeal with food, stoves, and transistor radios blaring the yeah-yeah music far into the night. By the next day, 26 fans had been treated for fainting and hysteria brought on by emotion. Inside the gardens, the cult of Beatlemania reached its apogee. The Beatles are gone, but the melody lingers on.